here again with Danny, myself, and
What
you.
up? What's going
Uh,
on?
you, the viewers at home. And today we're talking about the importance of heroes. You know, just the people you look up to. Who is it? Who are the people? Why are they the heroes? What have they done to get to that point and staying at that level as well, right? Um,
Yeah.
so we got like a few categories. I think I'm gonna let Danny take the reins because yeah, I'll just let you take the reins. What's your first one there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna break it down to three. We got three different categories of heroes, if you will. Just to give the listener a little heads up. We got personal people that we know and have been, in their lives,
Mhm.
celebrities, and then fictional ones. So I'm not sure how many you wrote down for personal, but I wrote down a handful, if you don't mind.
Nice.
Okay.
This is when it's
So
gonna get awkward. Pick the best one. Just kidding. No, you don't have to.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm
No,
just fucking with you. Go ahead.
so the first ones I got two, and these people we have talked about before in different episodes,
Mhm.
but educators who kind of guided me towards my life and to get where I'm at right now. And that's Ms. Gail Crane, rest in peace, who passed. She was my 10th and 11th grade English teacher over at Gunderson High School, and then Mr. Arturo Villarreal, who is the Mexican American slash Chicano studies um, professor over at Evergreen Valley College. And both of them are my personal heroes. Again, just having faith in me, guiding me, and kind of like such, make shaping me and seeing potential in me as a student to me now becoming an actual teacher and like hopefully inspiring um future scholars of the United States. But
Yeah,
those
dude.
are
I mean, that's the
hell
whole
yeah.
point too. Like you kind
Yeah.
of took a piece from what they're doing, right?
Hell yeah, dude. And like they were just so awesome. Like and just like forever grateful for everything they've done and they still continue. And so like unfortunately with Miss Crane, like yeah, she passed away, so I never was able to thank her for for this. But
Mhm.
I feel like her legacy still lives on, and she's still she's still an effective teacher, even if she's not my teacher directly. And then with Villarreal, I mean, that dude, I'm always constantly emailing. He's a super cool guy. So ran into him all the time here in East San Jose. So that's awesome. I always seeing
Yeah.
him. It's always cool to see him. Um, and then I got another person who unfortunately I didn't meet, but because she passed away just about a couple of months before I started working at the school. But I used to work in this charter school in East San Jose called Escuela Popular, which was founded by this teacher, this lady called Lydia Regedin.
Mhm.
And she was cool because I mean her thing has always been like advocating for social justice and equal rights and stuff. So she started our school as a English, like a school so you can learn English, and
Right.
then from there it grew from just several people just in her own backyard to like having 10 people one night to like 100 like within the weeks, and
Wow.
then like moving in and creating this school. And you know I love that school, for during the time it was super cool, like working, like teaching these Spanish speaking immigrants that came into the United States and said, you know what, this is going to be my permanent home, I need to better my English. So basically they will get their ESL, or they will get their English levels up to a high school level, and then we'll give them the option of giving them or earning their high school diploma. And so it was just a cool thing, 100% free. And like all the students I ever taught in those schools for the 3 or 4 years I was there, just amazing people with amazing stories and
Mhm.
super bright people. So very cool.
Can I
Very
can I
cool.
add something?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Um, I just want to give credit to those people that do stuff like that. Not only just your the teacher there, but just the people in general, because they're going to work and they're working. They're not working easy jobs, and then they're
Oh
gonna
no.
get off of work. And instead of going home and spend time with their family, they're gonna go to school to learn English. which
Yeah.
by the way, I still don't fucking know English.
Neither do I.
So, yeah, that's why I always laugh and get irritated with people that are so ignorant about it. Because I'm all, listen, dickhead, no one knows English.
Hmm.
Literally, it's the only language that still isn't done. So it's like ever changing rules, and it's like
Yeah.
to expect people that come from another country, even if it's such a common language in the world, like it's not the most common, but it is one of the big ones.
Hmm.
It's not their home language. Like if I go to El Salvador, I don't know Spanish well enough to talk to people in El Salvador. And Spanish
Yeah.
isn't even a hard language to learn. It's one of the
No.
easiest. And I still don't
Yeah.
know. So that's why, like, I just wanted to throw that in there. Like, credit to
No.
my
And
my peeps that, got to work hard and do their shit just to be felt like an average citizen, you know.
no, and I think you nailed it, dude. One thing about English that we have to remember, like you said, it's not like there's no root language like Spanish.
Yeah,
It is really from Latin. This is why Portuguese, French, Italian,
right.
and I forget.
Similarities.
Yeah, they very similar. Where English kind of
It's
it gets a little
German.
bit familiar. German,
Yeah,
Greek,
it's a couple other things.
Latin.
Yeah.
It gets complicated. And actually, my youngest brother, he's trying to learn how to. Well, he's learning Japanese, and he was saying Japanese and Spanish have very similar similarities.
Mm,
So like it is, yeah, it's super difficult, and just much respect. And dude, you nailed it, dude. Like I had students like I knew whenever like the temperature was like over 90, I knew a lot of students weren't coming to school that day. And they will email me or call me and be like, hey, you know what, Mr. Betancourt, I'm not going to be able to come to school today because I'm a roofer. I've been, 10, 12 hours up on the roof at, 100 plus degrees. It's
yeah.
like, my head hurts or I'm just
Yeah, like,
exhausted.
well, you don't wanna do that.
And I'm like, I don't freaking blame you. Like, I don't
Yeah.
blame you. So I try so hard never to like complain, like, oh, I'm tired, or like, oh my,
Mhm.
because, and I guess I can complain,
Right,
um,
right.
because it is valid. But again, this is something that we always say: never compare yourself to others, and
Mm.
how you feel is always valid. But it was just like so much respect for these people. Like you said, they're busting their ass, and then they're still coming here and not getting home until like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, just to wake up again at 5 o'clock in the morning and do it all over again.
Yeah, and then
Amazing.
I agree, and then it's funny you bring up the valid thing with comparing to others, because literally when I was at lunch today with Steph, I was talking about something, and she said, "Don't compare yourself to them," and I said, and yeah, I'm argumentative, but I also told her, I was like,
Hmm.
You're right, but I'm not doing it like that. I'm doing it to gain perspective, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like in that case it's necessary, especially if it's coming from a place of like humility. Like you want to be
Yeah.
humble, and you just kind of
Yeah.
want to be pointing out that so and so is breaking their back, and I'm over here complaining. Sometimes it's nice to have the perspective to make yourself feel like, you know, strap the boots on and just pull up your pants. It's time to get to work
Yeah.
instead of complaining about it. Just because that guy has no excuse,
Yeah.
that woman has no excuse.
And it's not to compare it, it's more to like inspire you
Right.
to push through. And it can be a hero. Like this is what heroes do to us. They inspire us to be better, and they're like role models. And sometimes we think like heroes and role models and those people have to be like super extraordinary people who did like ridiculous stuff, and which they should. And I feel like they are valid, but the average Joe, or the average person, should
Right.
be also considered a hero. I mean, I think John Lennon said it best. Like the working class hero is someone to fear.
That
You
is a
know,
pretty good song.
a fucking amazing song.
I'm not always big on all John Lennon stuff. Like
Yeah,
Imagine's a good song. I just hated when the celebrities did it.
of course.
Um, because I always will. I hate those
Yeah,
videos. But yeah, dude, that's a good one. I think, yeah, that's just a solid track. I
yeah.
agree.
Because dude, John fucking nails it. Like I remember when I was teaching like industrial revolution and then like the rise of like communism and socialism. I
Mhm.
would start off with that song. I'll literally play the song, give all my students like a copy of the lyrics, and then like analyze the lyrics and stuff like that, because it is right there. Like it
Dude,
beats you to death until you can't take no more, and then
they're going to remember you for that, because every teacher I had, even people that aren't musical, because I had a teacher named Mr. Holston in Mount Pleasant. Shout out to Mr. Holston.
Shout out.
Freshman year, super cool dude. Wait, was it freshman year or was it sophomore year? Doesn't matter. I think it was sophomore year. He was my English teacher, but he also did we did songs. Like, we analyzed some songs. Like, we analyzed I Shot the Sheriff, Bob Marley.
Oh,
and
nice.
he did the same thing you did. Like, he printed out the lyrics. And it's funny because I wasn't super into reggae. I knew the Clapton version more than I knew the Bob Marley version. So I knew the song.
Yeah.
But I never really like analyzed the lyrics. And it was cool when he went through that. And it's teaching kids to be analytical. It's also teaching them to value music and arts.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the best ways to get through to kids, because I can vouch for that. I mean, I was 15. You don't listen to authority. You want to do what's cool. You're worried about getting laid. You're worried about all these things when you're young and how you look, and you know what I mean? And for some reason that cuts through all that noise and gets to them. And I keep doing it, dude, because that gets to kids and that gets to all of them. I think even the troubled ones, because we all love music. Everybody loves music.
Oh, I'm trying to I'm gonna start teaching the ethnic studies course at my school next year. I'm gonna be launching it, actually, so I'm gonna create the curriculum and everything. And I want to make it so anytime we do bring up a new sort of theme, I can incorporate some sort of song. So like working class here, like I'm definitely want to bring in some, John Lennon. Like if I can incorporate that song, a lot of hardcore songs also. Like a lot of this music that we grew up listening to, they have a social conscious equality kind of message to it. So I want to bring that in. I want to bring in like Rage, Public Enemy, like all these.
I got one that's not so hip, but it's a good working one.
Which one?
And the only reason why it's not hip is because it's going to be synonymous with Circuit City, R.I.P. But Taking Care of Business, Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
Never listen to the lyrics of that song. The kids probably ain't going to jam to it, because it was old dad rock when I was in elementary school. But the lyrics on that are cool. But yeah, do your thing.
No.
Like, what is this shit, Mr. B?
No, and they probably heard it,
from your honky co-host, isn't it?
Yeah, every day. And because the lyrics talks about like going to this job and just dreading it and shit.
And then it's saying, it's basically saying, I want to work for myself. And and that's why I grew up with that song. And it wasn't until like last week it was on the radio, because I listen to classic rock radio. And then I was like, damn, this song is tough, dude. Like, it's got that dad rock sound, and you're like, whatever. Like, I love that stuff, but I get how hip people look at it. Like, it's dated. It doesn't sound cool. It's not hip. But like, you'd be surprised, man. Like you were just saying, like, how old is that Working Class Hero song?
Yeah, it is. And
John Lennon was still alive, so it's pre-80s.
Yeah, I think 70s maybe. But the other thing also about it is, like, if you compare Taking Care of Business, it has that poppy kind of undertone, and no one remembers like the lyrics. It's just in taking care of business
every day. And then I just picture, oh no, it wasn't Circus City, it was Office Depot, because it goes, taking care of business, Office Depot.
And then Working Class Hero has that dark, grunny kind of grimy kind of tone. I think
that would speak to them more. I agree. Because especially it's kind of like very moody.
It's kind of like that Born in the USA.
Very ironic song. Because if you listen to it, not that Springsteen is like shitting on America.
No.
Per se. But he's basically like, he's voicing his frustration.
Yeah.
And it's it is a patriotic song. But to people that hear it, they would just be like, oh, it's a redneck jam. It's like, well, first of all, Bruce Springsteen's anything but a redneck.
There's
a lot of rednecks in Jersey. He's not one of them.
No.
Very liberal dude, and he's always been that way.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, don't judge a book by its cover. He looks like a working class guy. I mean, he's from Jersey. I think he is. And that's the thing I've always liked about Springsteen.
Yeah, the boss.
But totally Born in the USA. I mean, that whole song is like, it's upbeat with the drums, but
Mhm.
not an upbeat song. I mean, he's
No.
screaming and it sounds like he's in pain,
Yeah.
and he's talking about everyone, what they're doing and how they're
Yeah.
trying to get to the American dream, but they're all doing different things and they're not
Yeah.
necessarily happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Great song.
Let's put a pin on that because that
Yeah,
will come around again. Because
yeah,
I can go on forever. Well, we can go
true.
on forever with that because we're musical people. But let's put a pin on it. And just to finish my list of personal heroes, like I said, Lydia Regedin restarted, for the working class hero, to better the working class and the people just trying to reach the American dream, like good old boss would talk about.
Mhm.
But of course, my heroes are my friends, dude. Like, do we inspire each other?
Hell yeah, I appreciate
Like,
that.
hell yeah, dude. So, like, you, dude, for like just this project, this is awesome.
Oh
I can't
man,
say no, dude. Hell yeah. And
I
then like,
appreciate that.
I can't say enough about like our mutual friends, and then like, the every dude and dudettes I've ever like podcast with. Like, it's just awesome, dude. So, like, you guys are definitely all my heroes, and it's not just like, again, it like we look up to each other, or at least I look up to you guys, and
Mhm.
it's just like, oh shit, I need to get to that level. So it's not like it's inspiring. So hell yeah, you guys are heroes. You're inspiring. You guys are changing the way, influencing me one way or the other. So of course, my friends, and then last but not least, my parents, specifically my mom. For all the shit she
Oh
went
yeah.
through with my dad and his alcoholism, and when I was
Oh
super
shit.
young,
Yeah.
and yeah, dude. Oh yeah, it was um, yeah, and that was really rough. So, my mom for
Fuck yeah,
putting up with
dude.
all that
Good,
shit, dude.
strong woman, and good on your folks to
Yeah.
get through that together, man. That's
Well,
beautiful.
hell yeah, dude. So my mom, one of the she's a major bitch sometimes.
That's
and
how it works, dude. You got to be to
yeah,
deal with all that shit.
and and I love her, but she's
Mhm.
just a bitch sometimes. But I love her to
She's
death.
also listening right now. I'm kidding.
She's behind me. She's
Comes
gonna
the
come in and
chancla.
just knock me out like when
Yeah,
I
you ain't
was
getting no
small.
chancla. Maybe just be a nice lefty.
No, it's gonna be like a bat, a nice wooden bat to the dome. My mom don't play. My mom stopped hitting us because her hand hurt. So now well, first off, she hasn't like thrown or hit us since like God knows when.
She's got the
But
bowling wrist guard on.
no,
So good.
so last thing I think the last thing she used to hit us with, and I'm talking like teenage years, so
Yeah.
maybe like whatever was reachable around her hand.
Oh,
So
for
it was
sure.
like
Yeah.
rocks.
Rocks.
It was like son of a bitch.
The fucking uh
Breaks and shit.
such a degree of rocks.
And
I'm
then-
just I'm hoping it's a handful of like decent sized ones, but I'm hoping she wasn't like shot putting like pool cues at you. Or,
no,
like cue balls.
no, she wouldn't be able to. She was just like threaten us with it. I remember once she threatened us with it. I'm like, Mom, what the fuck are you gonna do with that, Mom? Come on, Mom, react.
Oh,
Come on,
Jesus
breathe, Mom,
Christ.
breathe, Mom.
Yeah, at that point you're like, I could take a hit.
At that time, I'm like, Mom, chill.
Come on, Mom.
Whoa, just
I mean, what's
chill.
another rock? Yeah, dude.
Are you gonna do with that? Hit me? Come on.
I don't
dude.
think I would have been as mouthy if I grew up Mexican. Or I should say more Mexican.
We definitely got slapped a lot.
I didn't get slapped, dude. Maybe that's the problem.
Oh,
I got
never
spanked.
test a Mexican parent's gangster.
No. Especially when they're not your parent.
Oh, dude, hell, they don't got time for that.
Huh?
Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
They do. Not you,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, they'll make time. Yeah. No, for
But
real.
yeah, those
like,
are my.
the Latino heat, dude.
Oh, dude,
Latino
hell
heat
yeah.
too.
But those are my personal
You came with
heroes.
a cornucopia of strength, dude.
Hey, thanks, man. No, I mean, because I want it to be meaningful, So like,
Yeah.
these people are very meaningful. Both teachers and educator who, again, just, and this will be a recurring theme, but anybody who ever advocates for like social justice and equality and stuff like that, I always have much respect for that. Just to put yourself out there, and you're gonna be ridiculed. People are gonna think like you're crazy for this idea, But you
Yeah,
know,
that's true, man.
but helping so many is so cool. Of course, my friends for just being awesome people and like being heroes, dude, and and just being inspirational to all of us. And of course, my parents for all their sacrifices and everything that they've done and putting a roof over my head and still continue to put a roof over my head.
Yeah.
So 100%. But what about yours, man?
So we're gonna start personal. Well, because that's all you did too. So
Yeah, yeah.
um I got a couple.
Okay.
The main one that comes to my mind is my grandfather,
Nice.
Papa. Um I um I did a trip with him earlier this year and we went to Lodi where he's from.
Yeah.
He was born in Twin Falls, Idaho, but which is ironic because he's born in Twin Falls. Him and his twin were born in Twin Falls.
Nice.
But he was maybe like, I believe he said he was 4 or 5. They moved. They got a nice farm property in Lodi, California,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, he was 5 driving him and his brother, and he was not the oldest, but I think he was like middle
Mm-hmm.
to young on the realm. And he had 6 brothers, I believe. I
Yeah.
should know that number. I'm not so close with all his siblings, so that's why it's a little iffy.
Mm-hmm.
But he, he had a rough childhood. His mom just couldn't deal with him and his brother, so she had him go live with his aunt for a while. So he literally didn't even live with his mom. He went through most of his life not really feeling like his mother loved him. I mean, even when I had conversations with him less than a few months ago, we would talk about it, and he mentioned like even when his dad died, she was even cheaping him out of some of that stuff. Not to get into family drama that I'm airing out, but
Yeah.
this is important,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
and it's kind of part of his story. And so he always had this chip of never being good enough for his mom. And I feel like
Mhm.
that is one of the hardest things in life. Me losing my mom was tough, but imagining that as important as of a person as she is and how much I love her, knowing that if she didn't love me the same way I love her,
Yeah.
that fucks with you, man.
Oh, 100%, dude.
So with that backstory, I wanted to say a little bit just to give everyone an idea of what baggage he's carrying with him while he's
Yeah.
growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
he should have been in jail. He should have been in prison. I mean, I would have been. I
Mhm.
wouldn't have been able to deal with all that, overcome it, move down to San Jose to go to San Jose State to become a cop.
Yeah.
He went through the police academy. He did judo. It didn't end up working out, but he met my grandma, and they had my mom. And he was in the light bulb business for a while with Westinghouse, and
Mm.
then jumping around with that, he was an electrician by trade, and then became a successful contractor to run his business. That my mom, we were able to. My mom worked for him. Me and Michael, Michael, we used
Yeah.
to do summer work, towards the end, of his tenure with the business, and it was great. I loved it. It really, I think that's why I have such respect for construction and labor workers and everything,
Right.
because I grew up around it.
Mhm.
It's normal to me. It's nice. It just feels like home because
Yeah.
it's what I love. I love my grandpa. So anything like building wise synonymous, I'm just like, if like this old house is on, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I don't know. It's weird, but
Yeah.
it's similar things, and it's part of your the hero aspect. I mean, so it's just he was always like a DIY, like he was
Yeah.
5 years old. He was driving a tractor. He told me he was working on the farm. Like back in those days, people had kids not just to have kids, but it was cheap labor.
Yeah,
I mean, it
exactly.
sounds fucked up, but it's true. I mean, to run a
No,
farm,
100%.
it's just how things were to survive. Like if you
Mhm.
want to run your farm, you need staff, and those weren't the days where you could just afford to hire people.
No.
You couldn't even afford to hire immigrants or whatever you want to say back at those days because you just didn't even have money for that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the corporate farming like it is now. It was everything was
Mhm.
kind of like on a local level, you know?
Yeah.
And and that's how important farms are, you know, like especially Lodi now. We still get most of our produce, even in the Bay Area, is from Lodi, from the valley.
Right.
So it's like it's still a huge hub for what we need and what we eat. And we always talk about Lodi. Lodi's got a huge negative connotation. I mean, CCR wrote a song about it that's
Oh yeah.
but glorifying
Oh
Lodi.
Lord. Yeah.
Stuck in Lodi again. I mean,
Stuck in Lodi.
so he got out of Lodi, you know, and started his own business, started his own family, and he kind of had like a bad relationship with, I mean, he didn't really have anybody, dude. So he kind of came down to San Ho and he started things. He couldn't just move back. These weren't the days we can move back with your folks. Also,
No. It was
he
like
wasn't
you.
even like I just said, his mom never showed him affection ever, even when his dad passed. So that's never going to happen. It's just like he never had a safety net. And I think
Yeah.
that's what made him work harder, you know, and made him, you know, do so much and need to do so much because he knew, one, he knew he didn't have a safety net, but I think two, he was building that safety net for his kids.
Yeah.
Which he did 100%.
You know.
I still kind of like, I gave my mom shit when she was around, and I like to give my uncle shit still to this day. Like, first of all, you guys are spoiled in that sense. You had nothing but a great support group your whole life. I'm not saying you didn't have hardships, but damn, very supportive family, you know, always helped you guys move ahead. I'm not saying I didn't have that, but there were definitely moments in my life, you know, that were challenging. I mean, when he was 18, he was on his own. When I was 18, I was on my own. We have a lot in common.
Right.
You know, him and his sister, they didn't always get along. They had some issues early on too. Even though his sister was a lot younger than him, it was just weird drama. You know, families are weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was his mom, to be honest with you, like pitting people against him. But that's how toxic she was. But you know, and like I have problems, you know, with certain members of my family as well. You know, it's odd, you know, that he's always been my hero. I can remember back when I would go to, because when I was growing up also, like I didn't have daycare. Like I went to my grandparents. So
Right.
I spent all my day with my grandma, and then I would, you know, my grandpa would come home and we'd hang out. But I remember playing video games with him, you know, like he'd be listening to the radio in his office. It's always been like I would go with him in his work van and we would go to job sites, you know. It just was great. He'd take me to breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, because of him and my grandma's Sunday tradition, you know, me and Steph, well, before we had the boys, but once they get older, we're going to do it again. Sunday breakfast, you know, that was always their thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like a lot of family tradition, man, like
Yeah.
a lot of it. And that's a big part of why he's my hero, was his role as a dad.
Yeah.
A killer dad, you know, like always supportive of his kids, no matter what they did, no matter who they were, no matter who their friends were. He didn't make a fuss. He didn't nothing, man. You know, he was who he was, but he let you be who you were too.
Mm-hmm.
And even to add some funniness, in high school, he used to do pranks too. He like did all kinds of funny things, like he hung one of the desks outside the window. I don't know, like crazy things, and like
Right.
he used to get in trouble, and it's funny because in high school I was kind of rebellious too. You know, when I got suspended for 5 days for mooning like hella people at Mount Pleasant, and just I think you know about that story, right?
Yeah, I heard.
You're like, yeah, I don't
knew.
need to hear it again. But
Yeah, I knew.
when I got home,
Yeah, I knew about it.
you know, he was like laughing. You know, he was like, man, heard about what you did. He just laughed. My grandma didn't care. The only one mad was my dad, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Which totally makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to react any other way. That's totally my dad. But it was just like totally, it was just, he understood, you know, he was like, you're just being stupid. I get it. You know, and you didn't bully anybody. You didn't like cause harm to someone, you know, okay. You're being an asshole. You broke the rules, but you didn't like do anything out of malice. Okay. See, and I appreciated that, for two reasons. One, I didn't want to be in trouble, but two, it's like he really, really understood that I'm just being dumb. I'm not being like bad. I mean, I am being
Yeah.
bad. I guess if you grow up Christian, I'm being bad. But like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, you got to let your kids get their fucking angst out, and it's better they do it than like knocking a girl up or something. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
fair. I didn't really have that option. So I'm not going to like pat myself on the back for not getting a girl pregnant,
Yeah,
It
you
wasn't
just
just
didn't have the
random
option.
game.
Yeah.
So, no, that's definitely why, and he's always been a really good teacher. I remember even with school projects, I can remember all the way back to like I think second grade when I built a birdhouse with him. All these other kids built these little things with like balsa wood and shit. My grandpa had a bunch of spare fucking 2x4s and shit, cut them with a
Right.
miter saw, and we made a cool little wooden bird box.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. He helped
Yeah.
me make an extension cord in middle school for like a science project, showed me how to wire it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you can't like go out and seek that kind of information really. I mean, now you can with Google.
Yeah, and
Back when we were
YouTube.
growing up, you needed people to know what how that stuff was to teach you.
Right.
So it was so valuable. And he also, he's like me. We have our anger issues, but he's good at controlling it and he's calm most of the time. So that's also another thing about the hero aspect with him is his mental discipline for me is huge, and I admire it almost more
Mm-hmm.
than almost anything about him, just because he's a very composed individual, and I definitely think that's something I can borrow from more than the other things, is to make sure I'm not this raging asshole. No one wants to be around me.
Right.
But yeah, he overcome adversity. Very similar to what you were saying. Loves it's passion with teaching. It's not about like there was nothing he was getting out of it besides the joy of knowing that he was enlightening me on something.
Right.
No, and that's what a teacher is. It's not anything monetary. It's that,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
It's the rewards, it's the satisfaction, and just having that end of the school year. For as a teacher, dude, personally, there's nothing more rewarding than at the end of every school year when we get to see students graduate,
Oh, I bet.
especially with those students that you saw and there was just complete a handful,
Mhm.
in their younger years, and seeing them, graduating and moving on, and then seeing them mature. You're like, yeah, dude, like, thanks. Like, they all come up to us and be like, oh, thank you, Miss Rancor, thank you, whoever, for like helping. But and it's the other way around. Like, and I was telling this to like the adults. I'm like, hey, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. Like,
Hell
that's
yeah, dude.
just, you're like, it's just mutual respect. Like, hey, thank you for allowing me, dude. Because it's like you both grow, and you both, and that's for me. Like, that's teaching. That's what it's all about. Like, just, you know, seeing them grow, and just the satisfaction of seeing, getting the other person enlightened, and just being all stoked. So right on, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and like for that too, like I feel like, you're we can't bring our cars, our guitars, whatever else we spend money on with us when we
Yeah.
die.
No.
But the thing we can take is our soul, and
Yeah.
your soul is growing every time you teach people, and
Yeah.
like you said, interact and see people grow, and you're helping the world.
Yeah.
That's it's a huge accomplishment, man.
Yeah. Right on, dude.
And then I said there was another one real quick.
Sure.
I have to throw out Steph. She's
Oh,
got to be in here.
yeah, 100%,
She was
dude.
already kind of a hero with me career wise,
Mm-hmm.
but I physically watched her squeeze two children out of herself twice, and I'm not going to make it sound pretty. It was a beautiful
Oh,
situation, but it's meant to sound how I made it sound. It was
it's
brutal.
painful. Yeah.
It's such a crazy thing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, National Geographic, great, doesn't do it justice.
No.
They don't capture the joy or the horror as much.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of that situation. You're going through such panic and fear, and then the minute the baby cries, everything's better. Everything's fine. and
Everything was worth
and
it.
the mom's okay.
Yeah.
Which is, you can tell pretty early. Once that happens, it's fine. Everything's great. Because then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're over the scary part. Because I mean, I didn't do anything physically. I was just a
No,
nervous
it was
wreck,
just
worrying about her well-being, worrying about the baby,
yeah.
and it's just the nurture aspect of growing a child inside of you, the selflessness, and then just the unconditional love that a mother has for their child.
Yeah.
That I have so much love for my kids, but I'm never really going to understand that bond that a mother and
Hmm.
child has, you know. I'm fair about it. Like, there's times I get jealous, you know, obviously, you know, but I'm like, but you know, they physically have a bond that I'm never gonna, you know,
Yeah.
like, that's just such a huge thing. And she's just very selfless, you know. She does things rarely for herself. I constantly have to remind her to do things for herself, go out on walks,
Hmm.
get time away, tell work to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
That's my motto. Fuck you, work. And you know, she just busts ass, dude. She's typical American, you know, like, works, you know. And when I say American, I don't mean white, I don't mean black, I don't mean Mexican, I mean everybody. You know,
Working
I mean,
class. Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
just Americans, dude. We live here, you're an American,
Yeah.
you know, and we need to stand proud, and we need to do our shit. And that's what I stand for. It's not really about political beliefs. It's more or less about who you are morally, right? And that should be the reason we define each other and how we look at each other. But I mean, that's it for my personal heroes. I wanted to keep that one short and sweet for myself, because we're gonna have some fun now with these ones.
Oh yeah.
You want to jump in on you want to do famous?
Yeah. Let's do that. So, no particular order. Number one, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm, you gotta say why though, because that
Okay,
I love that pick so much. Talk a little bit about it.
because he represents everything that I'm not. You know, he's like isn't afraid to confront somebody. He isn't afraid to like stand up and just give it to the boss and just you're like he says it how it is. Where I'm more like I'll say how it is and I'll be more but more reserved, more tippy. You know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't like go up close to like confront somebody. I'll be like, hey, dude, like I'll be more reasonable kind of. Where
right.
Stone Cold's like, oh, you're being a shithead, I'm gonna fuck you up, and there's nothing more evident to that than when they tried to punk him. Remember that show Punk by
Oh yeah, with Ashton
Ashton
Kutcher.
Kutcher? And if for those who haven't seen it, I mean you can YouTube it, but um they went to a restaurant with the manager. The manager lost his phone. And he's like, "Oh, have you seen the phone?" He asked the ballet guy who was a black guy,
Uh-huh.
and he goes, "No, I haven't seen it." And so here comes the manager, and he goes, "Oh, what's going on?" He tells him, "Oh, I can't find my phone, blah, blah." And the manager assumes it was the black guy who brought the car. So he's like, "You're
Right.
fired." And right in front of Stone Cold, and Stone Cold's like, "So, hey man, calm down. Like we don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. We don't know what's going
Yeah.
on, relax." And he's like, he's just pissing him off. Like he's like right there talking shit about this guy.
Right.
They find the phone. The phone was like supposed to be found the phone. And Stone Cold was like, all right, well, you fucked up. Give him back his job.
Right.
And the guy's like, no, I don't like the guy. And
Uh-huh.
it literally had to stop because Stone Cold was like, oh yeah, you're an asshole. I'm sorry, you're calling me an asshole. Like, do you see anybody else here who's an asshole? Like he's
Fuck
telling
yeah,
like,
dude.
yeah, he's like
Yeah.
telling him, and like you can tell like the actor was all nervous, and they had to
Oh
like
fuck, dude. Why do
you're
I gotta say this shit
he's
to him?
you're getting
Yeah.
punked, and then like it had to end because Stone Cold
So
was gonna like,
you're gonna get fucked up.
yeah, you're gonna get fucked up for being a fucking dick right now, or being a
Fuck
prick,
yeah, dude.
and that's who his persona was in the wrestling. It's just like the average Joe, working class,
There you
who
go, man.
even
Working class hero.
who looks like a freaking redneck, but
Oh,
far
he
from
is a
it.
redneck.
Oh no, 100%,
Yeah.
100% redneck, but not like he said his most complex the hardest part he ever did was not playing Stone Cold, but in the movie The Longest Yard.
Oh,
Remember
the
how
racist prison guard.
yeah,
Yeah.
he hated that role because it's
Mm,
not who he is.
no.
He hated his parent, his daddy, and everything brought him like he was surrounded by racism, but his dad taught him not to be that way. And his best friend was black growing up, so he has a problem with
Oh
racism
yeah.
and like injustice and stuff.
See, once again, like you're saying, like, and I want to say this too. I say he is a redneck. Californians don't understand what redneck means.
Right.
Californians think redneck means you like Trump, you hate black people, you hate Mexicans, you hate Asian people. No, no, no.
Right,
no,
right,
no,
right.
no. Those are fucking racist, crazy fucks.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. Yeah, they might be white and look the same, but that's geographical. Everyone down in
Yeah.
Texas looks like that.
Similar. Yes,
yes. Even the women.
Yeah.
But like, but that, you know, that's what I mean. It's like redneck more or less is like you're just a like
country.
It's you're just a white guy that like you like got your shit kicking boots. You listen to Skinnerd. You like drinking beer.
Yeah.
That's their America, dude. You know, just
And
like the
you take care
hippies
of
got
the
their
ones around you.
Birkenstocks and their patchouli and their little
Yeah.
picket signs. Well, they got their fucking Budweiser and their fucking cowboy boots. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very similar to the Mexican redneckism is very similar to Mexican culture,
Oh,
especially the
absolutely.
rodeo culture.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and like
it's
you
funny.
know, what people understand about Mexico is like, yeah, whenever you put Google Mexico or something, you'll see Mexico City or you'll see like Cancun or the beaches. But what you
Yeah.
don't realize is
Tourist
that the
spots.
majority are all country people. Like
Mhm.
my parents' hometown, everybody works in agriculture. We have cattle. Like, we were going on a hike a couple days ago, and my brother and I were like, "Oh yeah, see, that we were looking at cows because they're at," and we're like, "Oh yeah, that cow's pregnant." And my friend's like, "How the fuck do you guys know?" Like, "Oh, well, you see the stomach and look at
Mhm.
the other," and they're like, "How the fuck do you guys know?" I'm like, "Oh, well, we grew up around farms. Like, we know
Yeah.
about like we, it's that country culture kind of
You're
thing."
like,
So
you're like, yeah, no, we're perverts, dude.
Like, yeah, no,
like obviously you're not. Yeah.
we just saw special about cows.
Yeah, for real.
That's how we just know.
That's funny though.
Yeah.
No, but dude, Stone Cold, dude, great fucking call. And I kind of cut you off, but
No, and again, it leads on to the next part. Like I said, what he represented, and then celebrity wise, it's just so many to name. But it's just any musician who advocates for social justice, like like I already said, like Rage Against the Machine.
throw another
I was
one. You
thinking,
got one.
like the singers from like AFI. I'm sorry, the singers from Anti Flag, Just Insane and Chris. Always sing about political justice and equality and stuff like that. Same thing with like Davey Havoc and AFI. All these people I look up to.
Except for Miss Murder. Just kidding.
That song, yeah. But even then,
Just fucking with
it's about
you.
rabbits. No, but like, and then like yesterday I was listening to like, Dead Kennedys, and we kind of talk about Dead Kennedys
Right.
and like Minor Threat and like Black Flag and all this stuff where like, again, just advocating for social justice. Yesterday I was also listening to this band called Pulling Teeth, and they have this song. I mean, you can just Google it. I can't. The song's called Stone Thrower, but like the song's like 2 minute long. But if you Google it, there's a video where like halfway through the song he stops and he gives this speech about like how at the time Trump was president, it's like, oh, it's a shit show in Washington D.C. If you don't
Right.
agree with that, let's have a conversation. He's talking about trans people are not a burden on American society.
Right.
Why are we instead of like focusing so much on or being afraid of like people of color don't belong in the United States, like we all belong. He's all, and if somebody gets on your fucking face about that, get to their face and yell, and then goes into a breakdown screaming like, why are you so afraid of, or like, why are you just basically like, why are you a freaking racist piece of shit?
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, that's such like, and yeah, like it doesn't come off that way because hardcore, especially like straight edge hardcore music, is like super aggressive, and it looks like you're fucking beating the shit out of each other in the pit. But like,
Right.
if you listen again, we were kind of talking about this with like, earlier with this different songs. Like you hear the songs and you only hear like the music and the melody of it, but you don't hear like the social justice and social conscious lyrics behind it.
Right.
You know, like another song I wanted to bring up earlier was like the Neil Young song, "Keep on rocking
Rocking in
in
the
the
free
real
world.
world,"
Oh yeah.
in the free world. Whereas like, oh yeah, rock and roll, brother. But then you hear the lyrics, and then you're like, people dying in the streets.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just
That's a
like,
rockin' jam, like on a guitar
oh,
level. It's pretty
such
heavy.
a fucking badass song, dude.
Yeah.
Such a badass song. But like again, very social conscious lyrics that may get overshadowed by like this amazing chorus. Um, but again, I all those people, all those celebrities, anybody who will ever like, advocate for social justice, social rights, and equality and all that stuff, I'm all for them, and I always see them. That's my celebrities. But
Hell
what about
yeah.
yours? Or
I
famous
love
people, I
that.
should say.
Well, I love comedy. I got so many comedians I look up to, but I wanted to just name one.
Yeah.
Patrice O'Neal.
Oh,
Um,
nice, nice. Yes, yes, yes.
I I don't know if you did you watch the recent doc they had on
Yeah.
Comedy Central?
Yes, I did.
Great doc, and I think it's great for a lot of people that weren't always hip to all the little things. Because I've been I've been one of those weirdos that would go on YouTube and spend hours watching Tough Crowd,
Oh
Opie and
yeah.
Anthony clips with him on it. Um, he it's just typical, like with amazing talent. Um, right before they're about to just explode, sometimes it just they go, their light fades.
Yeah.
And that happened with him. His health took a dive. But the reason he is my hero is his attitude was basically there's no limits on topics or opinions. And I love that because it is just so pro what we need right now, especially because when he was talking about it, he knew it was going in that direction socially with this country, but we weren't quite there yet.
Yeah.
Um, we're there now. And man, he hit the nail on the head. But he always would go on Fox News because it's funny, he wasn't even a Republican. He just and he didn't really talk shit about liberals either, but Fox News would invite him on and he would argue with these feminists and he brought up great points, like and hard points to argue. Like most guys wouldn't want to argue against a feminist saying I'm a proud man and you need to kind of just ease up. Not every man is a pig. And he's
Yeah.
explaining why it's important for men to believe in themselves and believe in to be a strong figure in society, not just because society tells us to be weak, which they do now. I agree. Society does tell men, like, in ways we break it down. Like we say it's not a weakness to talk about your feelings. I'm not talking about stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they are kind of breaking down the male gender because of the way the female gender has been broken down. And once again, you don't build things by breaking shit down all the time, and
No.
you're just reinstilling the oppression. You're just putting it in the other direction to balance it out, but that's not how things work socially.
No.
So it was cool to hear him like combat these things because it's like feminism, there's nothing wrong with feminism. There's wrong with people in the belief system of these beliefs that they use that as a label for their beliefs, but feminism isn't a definition of what you believe. Like for everything, it's who you are and identify with as a female, and how you believe in the empowerment with your gender. But that doesn't mean you're a liberal. It doesn't mean you're a Republican. That doesn't mean you're pro this, pro that, anti this, right? It shouldn't just be a label. And I think it kind of is because there's so many people that speak out and they're the ones who kind of become the face of it. And that's kind of what I guess I'm saying that in a way where I don't want to just shit on feminism, but
No.
he was good about standing his ground and not letting people change his mind or make him change his mind, which I feel like, especially on TV or news, they want to bully you, blame you for
or
things.
make you belittle you, basically.
But yeah, he could go on there, hold his own constantly. He never got told off ever.
Yeah.
He valued free speech, which I'm huge. First Amendment, Second Amendment for me. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. And he genuinely could roast anyone, like anybody.
Yeah.
Like a good example is that Charlie Sheen roast.
Yeah.
On there, and the shit he said about William Shatner was just great. I mean, he tore everyone apart. He easily was the best part of that roast, and he literally was about to blow up before he passed away. Elephant in the Room. If you haven't seen his special,
Yeah.
check it out. His his social commentary, his whole thing was more about pushing the limits and talking about things than just worrying about a laugh.
Yeah.
But by being himself, he was hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's my comedy one. I got a
Oh,
bunch of like
hold on.
music.
Before we move on, though, can I
Yeah,
just
yeah, for sure. Go on.
okay. So first off, I mean, when you're talking about feminism, about um, everything's like blanket and umbrella and stuff like that, and in order to feel like equal, you have to belittle the other one.
Right.
And yeah, there's this big thing going around with that's equality.
Yeah.
Everything's so even, and in order to make that even, they kind of like you kind of have to belittle the other one to make it more balanced. And that's where from a social justice perspective, that's where it's wrong. You cannot have, you can say you have equality, but then there's equity, unfortunately. And that's where I think our society lacks. Like if males are up here already and females are right here, socially, as
Right.
far as pay raise, and as far as their voice, and being equal to male, rather
Right.
than bringing this one down, to bring it down to this level,
Build
is
that one
what,
up.
yeah, roll this one up.
Exactly.
I think that's what we need to thrive for. And rather than like cancel, this cancel culture and
Yeah.
doing those, it's no, let's not bring this person back down. Let's rise this person. Let's all as a society bring in and say, this is why it's wrong.
Mhm.
This is what you should strive for. I understand that that's your perspective and that is your idea, and it's going to be hard to change. But be socially conscious that when you say these things or do these things, you're holding these people down rather than lifting up. And I think that's very important. And I think I think you nailed it. Like we so easily ready to belittle rather than
Mhm.
help lift off whoever it is that's being who's
Oppressive or
being
whatever.
oppressed or whatever.
Well, and like, to end that part up, I like you just said, I feel like by breaking someone down, it's a butterfly effect. Now you got a
Yeah.
generation of broken men because
Mhm.
exactly, you know what I mean? You always got
Yeah.
to think generationally.
Yeah.
Like how what we're doing now is going to affect the future. That's
Absolutely.
100% how we need to think. And it's
Absolutely.
like if we want to do social issues and we want to just say, well, this is the easy solution, right? But how is that going to affect the kids?
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like that's always a thing they're thinking about.
No,
So
and I think every time you hear about like some sort of rape or something, whenever that happens, unfortunately, they're like, oh well, we need to teach girls to be more careful and be more conscious of what they wear. And I'm like, and I've seen this in memes several times,
yeah,
but I'm like, no, fuck that. We gotta teach as a society. We gotta teach these young boys how to be better men. How we gotta
100%,
teach them. And
100%.
all this, oh, boys will be boys. Yeah, boys will be boys, but that's not an excuse for freaking taking somebody's dignity.
No, and dude, I can vouch for that. I went to school on the east side like you did as well. Those some of those cholas, dude. They wore some short skirts, dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't go around pinching vaginas. So I
No.
mean, I'm just saying like, but you know, there's that whole argument too that it's nature versus nurture, right? How much of
Absolutely.
this is what's going on around them? How much of this is genetic? I don't think a lot of it is genetic.
No, it's
I don't want to just say I know everything, but I definitely think that's the nurture part. Their
absolutely.
environment. How you're growing up, what's going on. It's not always the parents' fault, but it's their environment. Like what's their environment like? That
Yeah.
has a lot to do with it. And
Yeah.
that definitely always gets overlooked. Um,
Absolutely. And one last thing also, about Patrice, because he came up like in the late 90s, early 2000s, especially in the early 2000s where he had a huge boom, right?
exactly.
Um,
Like that was when he was booming in the late
we
90s,
again,
2000s.
going back to Howard, just last night actually, I was they were interviewing Chris Farley,
Mhm.
and I'm sorry, not Chris Farley, I'm sorry, Chris
Chris
Rock.
Rock,
And
right?
they were talking about Chris Farley, of course. Another prime example of somebody who's taken away before their time.
Mhm.
Um, fucking advocate for social mental issues and mental wellness is so important. Fucking look at Chris Farley, like
Yeah,
amazing.
dude.
Such a fucking sweetheart. But I didn't meet him personally, but definitely from what everybody's been
Yeah,
saying,
I
such a
heard the
fucking
same
sweetheart.
thing. Super
Um,
nice.
so they're asking Chris Rock was saying how much he fucking hates that Chippendale skit. He hates it. I mean, he's like, it's funny as shit, but he hates the ending. He's like, why couldn't they just give it to Chris Farley? Like, why couldn't they just say, oh, we're gonna go with Patrick Swayze and day's over, and like the skit's over, or give it to Chris Farley, and the day's over.
Well, you know what? Did he say who wrote that skit?
I think he did. I forgot who wrote it. I can't remember the
Lorne
name, but
Michaels.
no, but he did say who wrote it, and Chris has confronted him like, yeah, this is fucked up. But he said like he
Well, it's not
hates
even.
it,
I agree. It's not as funny. It would have been funnier if you gave it to the fat guy with his shirt off.
and he said it okay. You give it to Patrick Swayze, cool. But the worst part, he said the part that he hates the most is at the end. Not only they start saying, "Whoa, we didn't give it to you because you're fucking fat, you're ugly compared to this guy," blah blah. Blah.
Right.
And that's what makes it funny because kind of Chris is just kind of like, "Oh, okay, yeah, well that makes sense." But Chris Rock was saying what was so dreading is that Farley was going through that. Like he really fucking knew that in his head. So having a writer like write
I see
it
what you
and
mean.
turn
Like it
his
was
face,
just breaking his self-esteem down even more.
yeah, and it was Young going like, oh, nobody really likes me. They just think I'm a fucking fat clown and a loser, and this is why, you know, this
And
is
that's
how.
and that's a strike against SNL, dude, because it's like that's not funny. Like funny is satire, funny is irony. It's
Yeah.
like funny isn't just a stereotype that we've been living through forever.
I,
Oh, the
I,
skinny buff dude is fucking
and
sexier than the fat dude. Of course.
and if I
Of
go
course.
back and see that skit, everything's fucking funny up to
I
when they're
love
like,
that
oh, yeah,
skit though.
when they're
For me
gonna up
personally.
to like I always hated how it ended because it was kind of like, okay, that was dumb, but like them dancing and like, oh man, such a difficult, like, of course it's hilarious. Why would it be such a difficult decision between the person who's just like who looks like
Well,
Chris Farley
exactly.
versus, and yet like that's so difficult. So I was like, no, that doesn't make any, whatever. But
No, and that's kind of more like, and that's funny you bring that up because I mean now SNL tries to be so like
so
righteous and
social
so
conscious and
conscious. I mean, to the point where they have fired comedians for what they've said 4 years before. I'm talking about
yeah,
Shane Gillis.
yeah,
He made a comment about an Asian guy in a podcast once. It wasn't even a specific dude. It was a joke, you know, literally a joke. But they're like, "Oh, you were being racist towards Asian people,
mm-hmm.
dude." Yeah, everyone's racist towards everyone at least once. You never
Yeah,
make a comment when you're driving or a joke, and if you say you don't, you're a fucking liar.
no,
But
and,
it's
and
just
my
like it's like how can those people, like you just said, be the same ones that had no problem taking a guy with depression, drug problems, a weight problem, and they're just like, oh, whatever, you're fat, you're gonna lose. I agree. I think it's that wouldn't that I don't think they would have made that same choice now. And
no.
it's like, how does that speak on who they are? You know?
No, and the thing that really pisses me off about that is like, again, we can belittle somebody for a mistake that they did years ago.
Right.
But the idea is, how has that person turned around and been better to it? Like, how has
Exactly.
that person grown? Because yeah, dude, if myself in my teens, 20 years ago, whatever, I would have been fucking canceled. I
Oh, I
was a
would have been
fucking
too.
shit. I've been
Of
so
course.
fucking canceled. Myself 10 years ago. Shit, myself 6 months ago.
Dude, myself this morning.
Yeah, myself this morning. Um, yeah,
Why I
2
don't
hours
have
before
fucking
recording
Alexa in
this.
my house. I don't have
Yeah,
Google Home. I don't want them recording my hate speech.
yeah. Like, so it is, unfortunately, yes. I mean, you should never say anything that's going to demean or belittle anybody,
Yeah.
based on whatever. But I think what we need to focus on is how we're growing and how we grown and how we amend our mistakes from the past. I think that's the most important part of society that we need to focus on.
I think so too,
Um,
man. I think
like,
that's the main issue is just this is the hero point. It's like we have heroes because we need
mhm,
role models, examples to be better,
yeah,
you know, and in turn we borrow traits and basically build our megazord of a hero, right?
hmm,
Voltron, depending how old you are.
yeah,
It's just like it's part of our well-being, it's part of our
yeah,
it gives us a safety. It's a safety net. It's saying
yeah,
this is how I should be, and this is how things can be, and I want that,
hmm,
and
yeah,
I think the main thing is be the hero,
yeah,
we need heroes, but we need heroes to help us be the hero.
Yeah.
Because there's a time in all our lives where you're gonna have to step up and be that person.
We need guidance. We
Yeah.
forever, just if
Like
no,
mentorship.
regardless. Yeah, absolutely. We need mentors all of our lives,
Mhm.
and people that are willing to have the time and give you support to make you a better person. Because sometimes we say things or do things like you mooning, the freaking East Side Mount Pleasant. It's not because you're being, oh, I want to show my ass to everybody or whatever. It's just like you're just making a bad decision, and you probably
Eh.
needed a friend rather than like egging you on to do it. When we're like, dude, you're gonna show your butthole to everybody?
Well, I mean, I didn't
Like,
show my asshole,
no, but you know
but
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
like, it was my cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I had compliments from that, all right? I'll have you know. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really though, I had a girl come up to me like a week later, obviously because I wasn't at school. She's like, "I just want to let you know I was having a really bad day." And I don't know whether this is a compliment or not, but it did make me feel better.
Uh-huh.
She's like, "I was having a really bad day, and then you just made it all better." And I'm like, I don't know whether it's because I grossed you out and made you laugh, or it's because I had a nice
Uh-huh.
ass. Either way, I'll take it.
I'll take
Like
it.
for sure.
Thank you.
And then I
Yeah.
had Mr. Varela tell me, like, not in a creepy way, because every time I say this, I want to iterate. He wasn't being creepy when he said it, but he was like, "Man, I wish I could have been there." Just because I think he wanted to see who doesn't want to see a kid be an asshole and then
And
try and
the
escape school
reaction.
from the authorities. And
Yeah.
it was a hilarious, stupid thing. I mean, I hid out in the fucking PE bathroom and had my friend drive me to Eastridge. It was like I
Mhm.
was breaking out of jail, dude.
Yeah.
It was
That's
so over the top and
like if
fun
freaking
as hell.
the 1,000 plus students who saw it weren't gonna freaking rat you out.
It wasn't that many, but it was maybe a couple, maybe a high hundreds.
Okay.
No, not high hundreds. Maybe like 100 plus.
A buck plus? A buck
It
50?
was the junior senior quad.
Okay. Normally they're like
But
100
no,
plus per. Yeah. Okay.
it wasn't a. I'm not gonna say it wasn't a bad decision. I don't regret it, so I don't want to say it was a bad decision.
No
I don't want to
regrets.
tell people to go out there and do that.
Yeah.
I don't regret what I did. I know it was stupid, but it was, like I said, it wasn't out of a place of hate, so I don't regret it.
Right
I
on.
was being a jackass. That's what I wanted to do, and it worked. And I got in
Yeah.
trouble, and I did the time. Am I a reformed criminal? Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Are you gonna go around
I
now?
mean, I can't do it anymore because now that I am over 18, I would be a sex offender.
You will be. You freaking
So
perv.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
By the way, they tried to slap that on me back then too because I was 18.
Really?
I'm like, I just turned 18.
Yeah.
There's no court that's gonna do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, not only we will not let you walk and graduate, which is what I was more worried about. They're like, we can register you as a sex offender, and I'm like, you probably have teachers here that are pedophiles. There is no way I'm a registered sex offender for mooning anybody. Go fuck yourself. Like I totally knew that was a bullshit, like school bullying. Like that was their way to have leverage for me to not act out for the rest of the year, which was fair. I didn't do senior pranks because in my head I'm like, that was my senior prank. I'm done. I got to graduate, and I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, dumb choice. No regrets, dude.
No regrets. That's why. But I'm sorry, I cut you off. Who else is yours when it comes to you were saying musicians also?
Just John Mayer.
Oh, nice.
I've been on his hype for so long, dude. He's just, I got into him like probably in like 2007. I was living on my own. All my friends were like into metal. I'm not trying to be a hipster right now, but I was kind of sad, and like I liked some soft music. I had my Nora Jones, I had my John Mayer, I even got it down with some Dave Matthews, a little Coldplay.
Oh yeah.
I was going through it, dude. I didn't do Morrissey and the Smiths, but I did the other stuff. And
you didn't go down that route?
No, dude, and I'm not shitting on Morrissey. Well, I did shit on Morrissey and the Smiths because Michael and Dylan liked them, and I kind of was like, "Fuck you guys! Like, why do you hate on me like Nora Jones and John Mayer when you guys like Morrissey and the fucking Smiths?"
Yeah, doing this shit.
No disrespect to Morrissey and the Smiths.
Fuck Morrissey first off.
But we're not getting into that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a different.
Musically, he's still who he is, man.
No, musically, I love the guy.
We can get into personal reasons why we hate people, but
yeah,
that's such an easy out.
Yeah.
But like, it's just, you get that stupid stereotype of you got to listen to heavy music. Like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want a good example of amazing. He started at 20 out of Connecticut. Fucking
Mhm.
Connecticut. You don't think of
Yeah.
blues when you think Connecticut.
No.
Maybe that's like Bernie territory. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Yeah.
like, shout out to Bernie.
Yeah.
But he started 20. I mean, he's just been a virtuoso almost. He toured
Yeah.
with the Grateful Dead for like over 5 years. I mean,
Mhm.
they don't get. I'm not a huge Dead fan, but they don't get session players that aren't amazing. Like they
Yeah.
always get these guys that are just. I mean, for instance, Bruce Hornsby toured with them for a while.
Mhm.
Bruce Hornsby is an amazing piano player. Um, if anyone is like, who the hell's that? Changes by Tupac. That
Yeah.
sampled pretty much his song.
Yeah.
So that's his piano. He's an amazing guy. But you want an example of great John Mayer? I got a specific guitar solo that's just fire. It's a song Gravity. It's the solo about three. It's about halfway into the live version. It's
Uh-huh.
live in LA 2009. I think it's at the Staples.
Mhm.
But just live in LA. That's all you got to look up because it's his DVD and his album. Gravity solo. It is just the song isn't even a heavy song. It's one of his ballads, but he just rips it on guitar, man. It's just sometimes when you hear an artist and they just hit those notes that just give you the goosebumps and make you feel like
Yeah.
they just make you feel like I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like it's like doing something for the first time. Like the first time you got high, you're never gonna get that high again. And it's like they get you on this high that's just very euphoric. It's like they're doing everything right. And he's kind of my muse when it comes to that. Um, I kind of kept it simple with that. I mean, I got a bunch of musical
No,
influences, but
but
John Mayer stood out for me just because, it's been kind of my go-to since I was younger, and he's just such a killer guitar player.
not for me was solidify like, dude, this guy's like amazing was when I think they were doing something on NBC celebrating the Beatles, like something anniversary of like at the Ed Sullivan show. And he
Uh,
played I forgot who he was there with, but he did Don't Let Me Down.
oh, I
And
remember that.
and it's just him playing it and just like the way he plays like the notes and like his face, he's feeling the music he's doing. And
Mhm.
he's just like such a good guy, such a good musician, amazing composer with his songs that he has. And then he doesn't take himself serious. And I love that. Like remember like his most famous, obviously him and Dave Chappelle like going around playing music.
Fight
He
riff.
doesn't take himself, yeah, he doesn't take himself serious. And then like he even I think they pitched a show for MTV where it was just him doing pranks. Like
Yeah,
John Mayer doing
I'm glad
pranks.
they didn't do it
Yeah, me too.
because I think he should just do that on his own. Fuck
Yeah,
having like a corporation tell you, because then it just would have been punked with John.
yeah, and it
It's
was
just been-
so great. Like for me, this is when I knew the guy was badass. Like he dresses up like in a teddy bear costume, and he's in the parking lot to his own concert,
Oh
telling
yeah,
fans that John Mayer sucks.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
and it's just like that's John. Like it's just, and they were saying like it wasn't like oh here's the TV. No, it's just kind of like several things that he was already doing, on his own, and he kind of just threw it out there to MTV or something.
Well, so another cool example that just came to my head, the Michael Jackson benefit concert, the memorial.
Oh
He
yeah.
does Human Nature. It is a
Uh-huh.
pure instrumental.
Oh, nice.
So basically, he's playing the chords too, but he's playing soloing the vocal parts.
Nice,
It's
dude.
it's it's I'm getting chills.
Yeah.
First of all, that's one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs. But I'm getting chills just because of the way it sounds, and just knowing too that he killed it at a fucking, like, no pun intended, he killed it at the memorial. Like, by the way,
Yeah.
huge place he was at,
Yeah.
and it's just you don't fuck up at a funeral. The pressure, that is the highest pressure you're ever gonna feel. You can't make a mistake.
No,
So
and for
and it's
somebody
just
like
crazy to me.
Michael Jackson also, somebody with that prestige of a
Right.
name.
I mean, holy shit, dude. One of the best. I mean, the king of pop, one of the best performers of all time.
Mhm.
One a world a world
Redefine the
winning,
music industry.
changed it.
Changed it
It's
completely.
just, and then to live up to a standard to impress the people that already like his music, like you just said, and not have it be like,
Yeah.
oh, he's playing a shitty version of Human Nature because it's not Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it has to be something special to stand out.
And not to stray away, so we can wrap it up, but like whenever I think of John Mayer performing and doing like a cover again, like the Beatles, and like with that, I think of like Prince in the when George Harrison was inducted to like the Hall of
Yes,
Fame, and Prince
that
is just
solo he
fucking
did.
killing it with While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Is like speechless. Like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
I'm getting
It's
goosebumps
just
too.
such an amazing performance. And you go back and you see Prince just ripping on the guitar,
Fucking
and
shredding.
it's just again, you have a fucking crowd full. I'm sorry, everybody on stage. First off, is a fucking legend. Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking Tom Petty, Joe Welsh is there. You have
You had
Danny
fucking
Harrison.
what's his name from ELO? The main dude from ELO, which I'm such an asshole for forgetting his name.
I can't remember right now.
But dude, like you said, I mean, songwriter wise, that was just like Mount Rushmore almost.
Yeah. And then you have a room full of these music executive and family members of George Harrison. You have all these snobby ass people, if you will. Right. And you just know that Prince stole the fucking show. Like you're there to honor George Harrison, but what better way to honor it than this fucking guy just also destroying a guitar solo?
Worth mentioning. He didn't sing a single note.
No,
he can sing. He didn't. He chose not. He didn't sing.
No,
I'm just gonna play guitar. Very fucking like fuck yeah kind of moment for me. Like he could have been an asshole and been like, I need to sing. I need a verse.
No, he went. He did his thing. Then that thing, he threw the guitar and then he just walked
straight up in the air, and it didn't fall back down. That
it's a Prince thing.
You've seen that video?
Yeah, like, it disappears.
It just fucking some roadie just grabbed it. But I love the ending because they I know they rehearsed it, but it's just so fucking dope. What's more rock and roll than that? Like I'm done, and it didn't come back down. And by the way, he threw it up with the total belief that it was going to get caught. Because he didn't even look back up again. And if that fucking thing didn't get caught, someone's dying.
Yeah, and somebody's getting fired.
Because that Prince guitar's got that angle on it, and that thing's just gonna come right back like a fucking boomerang and smack you right in the neck, dude. You're done.
No, you're done. You're done, son.
The Prince symbol, it's gonna kill you. It's being your neck.
Death by the sign belonging to the artist formerly known as
Prince. Which, by the way, shout out to Prince for fighting the fucking record company. Fuck the record companies.
Fuck yeah. Again, anybody stands for social justice. Just to wrap it up, my fictional, and it's funny that you brought up the Megazord earlier because that's exactly who we picked. I didn't grow up with like comic books or anything like that. I always knew like Superman was fake and never really I never really, I mean, Ninja Turtles, but I'm like, oh, it's just fucking cartoons. But I think the first like fictional superheroes had to be the Power Rangers for me. Like they're just so badass.
Which Ranger?
Oh, dude, the Black Ranger, dude. And the original Sack.
Dude, he was the Stegosaurus? No, what? No, the
Mastodon.
Mastodon, that's right. Yeah. He was the fucking dude, the Mastodon.
And then the axe that turned to a gun also. And then like I found out his full name is Zachary Taylor.
That sounds familiar.
I always thought it was just Sack. I wasn't sure if they gave off all his last name. But
wait, did you get that off IMDb?
I did.
They're very formal because I also was able to uncover the first name of the guy I picked, which I don't, like I said, I've seen this movie a million times. I don't think they reference his first name ever in the movie.
Who is it?
Well, is it my turn?
Yeah, I mean,
I just want.
No, I don't have to elaborate on the Black Ranger. It was just a bad.
Well, you brought him up earlier, dude. Just like I brought up the Megazord, you brought up Swayze.
Really, Patrick?
My hero is Dalton from Roadhouse.
Oh, what is his first name?
John Dalton.
Really? Because I know it's Dalton.
He's just Dalton. The whole film is Dalton. Never John. No, you know what? Maybe someone calls him John and I never fucking realized it.
You know who it was? It was the blind guy. It was the blind guy playing
That's right, because he says, "Hey John," you're right, because he says that's Dalton. But then you're right. I think so when he's talking to him, he says John or something.
Yeah, because I know like he got into a fight and they kept on playing and they whisper him and he goes, his name is John Dalton. And Dalton turns around because everybody's like, who the hell is this guy who just beat up like half of the bar with his mullet?
By the way, blind guy, Jeff Healey, real blues guitarist.
Oh, you can tell.
Yeah. Killer fucking really plays those songs. But to elaborate a little bit, just a little bit, Swayze's an important guy to mention, just because in the movie, because he was such a badass at just cleaning up really bad, divey, swanky fucking I stab you in the back with a knife places, that he got headhunted to a place in like Kansas City or near Kansas City to clean up.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you haven't seen the movie, watch it. I'm going to spoil a little bit. He literally does a move where he rips a guy's throat out.
Yeah.
It is the best. The guy had to go, guys. Swayze's not a monster. He's American treasure for that.
He had it coming.
The guy had to go. I mean, the guy was a bad guy. Let's just put it that way.
What I never understood about that movie is how the hell they knew about it. Because the dude from like the Double Deuce or Double J's or whatever it was
You're saying how they knew about his persona from another town?
Yeah. Like, was there like a bouncer magazine or something? And then his boy comes, and then like his boy shows up. I forget who the other guy was, but it's played by Earl.
No. Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah. And they're like, that's Sam, and they say his name, and they're like, oh my God, that's so and so. Like who the fuck?
Do you know what?
There's no
that's
Reddit.
A good point. But you know what? You're like, where was the fucking Facebook group for that?
Yeah.
But like, I kind of think so. The only thing I can even think of is comedians all kind of have that, like, we know this manager for this club in Tampa, and any touring comedian or even maybe a musician would know like the manager for the venue, and they all kind of talk trash, and they're like, yeah, this guy from that place, and everyone has a reputation. So I do feel once you're in the industry, there is somewhat of a noise thing, right? But you bring up a good point, dude. This is the 80s. So were people calling on landlines and gossiping about Dalton? I mean,
yeah,
like, good point, dude. Like, how the fuck did you get out there? This was even before Craigslist.
Yeah, like
he's got like video evidence
on the paper or something. Yeah.
Well, that's you couldn't even have a video reel, dude. Like, someone would have to be following you around with a big ass camcorder.
Yeah, that's gonna be another episode.
I didn't question that at all.
Oh, I always question these movies.
No, I think it's good that you do. I just think it's funny because I didn't question that. And I didn't even question the realism of the throat rip. I just love the throat rip so much that it's just
a badass movie, dude.
It's a great movie. I got some friends that aren't into it, but that's their opinion. But dude, it's just one of my personal favorites. I grew up with it. There's just so many lines in that movie. What does it say? You can either die or you can. What did he say? Like, Sam Elliott has one of those like lines in the movies where he goes like, you can either take the. I forgot. I don't want to butcher it. But it's just like, it's such a fucking good line. And he's a hero for me in that sense because he just takes no shit, dude. And he's like literally like kind of zen. I'm like, yeah, I said he's zen. He rips the guy's throat out. But throughout the whole movie, he's a very calm, and collected guy. He becomes like, they push him really far, man.
I think like he had some history before where he fucked up somebody, like
right?
That. And
he did the same. He did the same thing. He did the neck thing.
Yeah, and that's why he was so zen and not try to resort violence for like the absolute last thing. But there's only so much until you get pushed to the limit.
Well, exactly. So Sam Elliott's name is Wade Garrett.
Wade Garrett. That's right.
Oh, here we go. The line is, and it's totally what you're saying. He says, Wade Garrett says, well, what's the matter? Still living in the past, aren't you? We're a long way from Memphis. Swayze says, Memphis has nothing to do with it. And then Sam Elliott says, bullshit. That dog won't hunt. I can't believe you're still dragging that shit around with you. It seems to me you'd be just a little more philosophical about it and cut it the fuck loose. He's like, that girl never told you she was married, did she? And when a man sticks a gun in your face, you got two choices. You can either die or you can kill that motherfucker.
Yep.
God damn.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where he became so zen.
So he's well, and he's helping him. Like he's like saying, he's like, you made a bad choice, but the guy put a gun in your face, and you had two options. You can either die or kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was helping his friend out. He told me you were wrong, but you made the right choice with your decision you had to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and that's that movie, man. Is these good guys and bad situations. Great action movie. By the way, Terry Funk's in it for any wrestling fans.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
His ass
He's in there.
By Patrick Swayze and forward. Sam Elliott. And has
then
great dialogue lines.
Great lines. Great just ridiculousness. Like there's legit, there's freaking Bigfoot. Just no the freaking monster truck Bigfoot. And
oh yeah.
And my brother and I, we see that movie and we're like,
just running the cars over and shit.
Like, is there no fucking law in this? Like,
there wasn't in that town. That's the other thing. That guy ran it.
Yeah, but like, but there's people around. Like, how badass do you have to be where your best guy doesn't have guns? Like, they all have pocket knives or something. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, or boot knives.
Yeah, it was the 80s. I get it. Different times.
The butterfly, like the butterfly.
But no, dude, great movie. We'll do.
You know, we'll do a watch along on that. We'll do one.
Hell yeah, dude.
That'd be good.
That and like Speed or like Point Break. Another freaking great
Point Break. That Point Break and Roadhouse definitely have to happen.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I'm down with that.
Plus, it's like you're just naming like Keanu and Swayze. Like now, you're just trying to make me come in my pants.
That's just too much awesomeness.
This is so much, dude. It's so great. And by the way, pre-accident Gary Busey in Point Break as well.
Absolutely.
So
and with a cameo of Anthony Kiedis.
Oh yeah.
He's one of the surfers, dude. And he goes, "That will be too easy." I guess, and he does the whole hand thing too. I'm like, oh, Anthony,
can't stop addicted to the. No, dude, but that's, yeah, man, and you know, like you said, we can go on and on about these heroes, but you know, we need to be the heroes. We need to borrow from these things. You know, I'm gonna start ripping throats out too, man. Like that's the way it's got to be. Too. You know, like when someone doesn't use their blinker, or you know, it's just gonna happen. So be on the lookout. Storm's coming. No, I'm kidding. No, but like, you know, just borrow things that you know are gonna help yourself and help others, man. You know, that's what we're trying to do. Man. We need to look at creating a better. I know it sounds cliche, but we need to work at creating a better tomorrow, man. You know,
absolutely, man.
And in the words of Jay-Z, may the worst of your yesterdays be the best of your tomorrows.
Oh, I was gonna say, and in the words of Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Utah. Was it Johnny Idaho? Utah. Yeah, Idaho. Johnny Utah. Vaya con Dios, amigo. Vaya con Dios.
I love it, guys. And with that, I think we're leaving you. You guys don't need us. We know we're your heroes now, so there's no need to email us anymore. The roses were great, but enough's enough. No,
we get it.
Yeah, we get it. But no, thanks guys for your support. You know, look out, think about who your hero is, and reach out, man. If you don't want to reach out, at least acknowledge that you have one, and be thankful. You know, because we got to remind ourselves about the higher standards we have, and you know, we get stuck in these ruts, and we need to just remind ourselves that it's not always going to be this way, you know? So keep a good eye out, keep your head on a swivel, you know, look after each other, and we'll see you next week. But thanks for everything, guys. We appreciate you.
Peace.